It's lunchtime on Friday. The coast to coast's tomorrow. As you should have seen in the end of the last video, the bike's running. But it hasn't been anywhere yet. So the next job's to get it outside, and there's a little cul-de-sac next to the workshop. So I'm going to just have a little run round there. Hopefully a couple of laps and so on. Assuming everything's all right, maybe take a little bit further afield. Pressure's on a little bit because if we're not up and running by tonight, then it isn't going. And you know, it has been a bit of a struggle the last few days just to get the last bits and pieces done, to get it rolling and get it running and so on and so forth. And of course it's got a long ask ahead of it. You know, 2 days, 280 miles, something like that. It's a lot to ask. So to set off really totally untested is not the plan. And of course we should have been in this position a week ago to give us a week's worth of riding and tinkering and riding and tinkering, and for a number of reasons, as you've seen, it hasn't quite worked out that way. But we've had it running. Let's get it outside, give it a go. Now I'm just going to film these bits and pieces, and hopefully it'll all sort of make sense. And yeah, fingers crossed. It just goes, and we have to just check a few nuts and bolts, and all is well. So, okay, here we go. Let's get her outside and have a go.
Nice, didn't it, though? Typical side valve though, Jeff. Once you get them run, they run forever. Oh.
It just needs a bit more time with it, really.
Yeah, I know. I personally, I think it's just too soon to the event. You know, the thing is with these, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, that's not as planned. To just sort of highlight what you've seen, we had clutch slip. So despite the bike running all right this morning, got her outside, tried to fire her up, and the clutch was just slipping all the time. Now this is a reline clutch. There's clearly something I haven't got quite right with it when it's gone back together, or perhaps some clearances aren't right, but I had a spare original core clutch, which is pretty worn out, but put that in and got it to fire. Great. Little lap of the car park, great, and then died as it came back up. Now that's sort of thrown up a few issues. So one of the issues is it somehow managed to pull the magneto back and jump a few notches on the chain, so the timing all went out. So to sort that problem out, I've added a couple of sort of studs into the bottom of the magneto. We could only get 2 bolts in the bottom of the magneto, so by putting a couple of studs in, that just sort of helps with it maintaining its position regarding being parallel and in the right place. So done that, readjusted it, and the wheel adjuster, one of the wheel adjusters had fallen off, so I found that, put it back on, tightened it up, but it doesn't go, it won't run. It's kicking over okay, the timing I think is alright, and it's just stopped running. So I've got people arriving now to do this run, and I'm going to have to just put this to one side and resign myself to the fact that tomorrow I might not be on this bike. I've got a lot of help here, so I am going to sort of use the knowledge base, just brainstorm and so on. And it's probably something really simple, but I need to have just a moment away from it just to think about it and so on. One thing I did notice is the points seem to be opening twice on the cam ring, so it's possible that they're just out of adjustment or something like that, but it's too much to think about at the moment. Certainly where I am at the minute, it's not looking that likely that I'll be riding this rally tomorrow as with the plan. It was looking more likely. I had a degree of confidence after it ran this morning, but having managed half a lap of the car park and yeah, not great. But anyway, we'll give it a go. In a couple of hours, when I've got people settled down, I'll have another look and see what I can do. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed it'll be okay. But yeah, it's not a great time. Thanks for watching.
It'll start perfect. That sounds really nice. There he goes.
Positive note. Just helmet off, hat back on. I feel a bit better. I have managed half a mile around the block, and it ran really quite well. The only downside was that the belt is going to stretch quite notably. The first part of this was a hill, and I really struggled to get up the hill because the belt was slipping, and then it stretched that much just in a very short distance. So I've taken a couple of links out the belt. It seems to be a lot better. One of the guys has informed me that with this type of belt, I'm going to spend a lot of time taking links out until it finally sort of stretches and wears in and settles in. So I expect to be taking quite a few links out of this belt, depending on how far we get. But if that's all I have to do, then great. I mean, like I said, bike ran great, handled phenomenally. It's really quite nimble. The first gear seems pretty low. Not sure how usable it really is as a gear, but you know, let's see. But yeah, much more positive than I was, you know, half an hour ago. Really much more positive, but I'm still quite nervous. You know, that's the longest ride it's been for in probably the last 40 or 50 years, and it's done half a mile. It's not a great confidence booster. It's a bit of one, granted, but it's not a huge confidence booster. I would have liked to have done 100 miles on it by now. If it had run without having to make some repairs and things, earlier today, I'd have tried to get 20 or 30 miles onto it, which would have at least given me a little bit of a shakedown and some nuts and bolts to tighten. So, as is with this weekend, we're now going to go out for some food and be up in 12 hours time, and we'll be at the start in 13 hours time. So there's not much time left to do anything, and as I said earlier, we're just going to go for it. So hope you've enjoyed this video. I haven't, but I hope you guys have, and we'll see how we go tomorrow. Thank you for watching.